Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever this finds you this fine day. How are you? If you are a parent looking to speak to your child about screen time and have no idea where to start, then stay tuned. Good to have you here. Please subscribe if you haven't done already. Press that notification bell and then you will be notified every time a video is released by me. I am Cai Graham. I am author of The Teen Toolbox. I'm a parenting specialist. And it is my mission to support parents so that they can help their children through adolescence, so that together we can build a mentally healthier and happier generation of young people. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what it's all about. And for many of you, screen time is a big issue. And in the previous video, I suggested that it was important to set up rules and guidelines with your child, invariably your teenager, so that together you can have healthier screen time guidelines. And the question is, how on earth do you do it? Because whenever we mention screen time, we go, oh God, you're... and that's just from the parents. And it's hard. It's hard for us to try and strike a balance and to try and guide their kids in this minefield that is technology. Because yes, there are pros and cons. We know that. For your child, even though they don't really want to know about the cons, the pros are that they can connect with their mates so much more easier. For many, that is their lifeline. To build their tribe and to build a community is so vital, especially for teenagers, because friends are where it's at. You might already know that as a parent, you are now lower down on the pecking order than your child's friendship group. And that's the way it should be, so everything's going according to plan. Do not worry. And this is how our kids communicate nowadays, is through social media, through social networking. But there is so much scary stuff out there. And we need to arm them, we need to educate them, and we need to protect them. So how do we do it without becoming too dictatorial, without alienating them and driving their media usage sort of underground? It's tricky, but it is doable. Hurrah! There was a survey recently by Common Sense Media who said that, wait for it, 50% of teenagers are addicted to their smartphones. And I'm sure many of you can relate to this. 30% argue about your screen time usage on a daily basis. I hear you. So how do we broach the subject without creating all that animosity? Talk. About anything, about what they're posting, about what the emotions are that's bringing up. If they have they experienced cyberbullying? Have any of them, have they been exposed to explicit texts or whatever? The answer is yes. I'm afraid, yes. Pornography is just, it's a fact of life now, online porn. I've done a video about that, how to talk to your child about that. So I'll leave a link in the description. But all of this, for parents who might not be terribly or as dependent on their smartphones as their kids, it's quite scary. So how do you open the conversation? I would try this one. Just start off by going, now listen, you're not in trouble. You really aren't. But I'm concerned that we've got, notice the weave, that we've got this sort of, screen time out of balance. So will you sit with me and work out how we can work it out so that you don't miss out, but also so that I know that it's healthy So what do you think about that? That wasn't confrontational, was it? Rather than, oh, put your phone down, you've been on it for so long, it's ridiculous, go and do something useful. I know which way I'd prefer. So, because young people do like fairness, young people need to feel that they are being heard, need to feel that they're being listened to. So acknowledge that, yes, this is their lifeline. Acknowledge that, yes, they do need screen time for, you know, for homework and cat videos. Yes, that they do need to link up and build a community and find, you know, and yes, we understand that there are some questions that they can't ask their parents or would rather dare not. You know, I was a childline counsellor for a very long time. That is, for those of you outside the UK, it's a UK-based charity for young people up to the age of 19. That was predominant. It was, you know, it was phone. It initially started off as phone-based, but in this change of technology, you know, the digital world, the majority now of the content was coming through, or the questions were coming through from kids, whatever age, through digital, so through their smartphones, sometimes, you know, phone calls, but invariably online chat and invariably emails. So it's changed. I get it. And so the internet is fabulous for signposting and helping children and answering many of their questions. But there are those scary areas as well. So I suggest you sit down, and it could be when you're walking the dog. It could be when you're sitting in the car, because that means that there is no eye contact, which diffuses emotions and it makes everyone feel a lot more relaxed. But always do this when you're calm. Always do it from a point of neutrality. Not the, you're always doing this and I, because the odds are going to be stacked against you if you go in all guns blazing, believe me, and you know that. So talk and listen. Listen to what they're saying. Listen to what their concerns are. Listen to what their fears are. Listen to what their experiences are. I mean, sexualization is going through the roof for young girls. Slut shaming. And if you don't know what that is, it's all about sort of, you know, girls are meant to sort of be have this persona of beauty and sensuality, and you know, we know now that, gosh, even kids as young as sort of 10 are putting on fake eyelashes and sort of contouring their cheekbones and so that they look good. And yet slut shaming is when they're called out on it, which is so bloody unfair, because there's so much pressure for them to fit in, and then they're being called out when they are trying to fit in. And so and the thing is that young girls know this, they know it's wrong, so they need our support. They don't need us to be antagonistic, they need us to support them. And by supporting them, we need to create healthy boundaries in their digital world. We need to help them make better choices. Now, if you have no idea where to start, maybe go to the school and find out what their smartphone policy is, what their screen time policy is, what their policy is towards the digital world, so that at least you are not conflicting with that, because there's no point sending mixed messages, and so that there is that degree of consistency both at home and at school. What I often suggest, and I know from Childline, is children need to feel heard. Children need to feel valued and loved and respected. And that comes with communication. So communicate with your child. And one of the best ways of doing that is sitting down and what I call a family powwow. Sit down and have a chat. And it could be every meal time at the weekend, or when you've all got, you know, maybe Friday night's movie night, or whatever it is, whatever works for you. Find a time to sit down on a regular basis and have a family powwow. Doesn't have to go on forever, but the rules are Every person is allowed to have a voice, and every person has to be heard respectfully. And put social media on the agenda, and put the digital world on the agenda, and how do we cope with too much gaming, and how we, you know, and or maybe not say too much, because you're, oh, I don't do too much. Maybe just talk about gaming. In the previous video, I said, yeah, I mean, they are allowed. Let's not deny them their downtime. Crikey, you know, Grandpa does Sudoku, or, you know, Granny does knitting. Here are massive generalisations, but you get the drift. Someone else does golf. Well, your child might be doing gaming. That's all right, as long as it's all in moderation. So talk about it. Agree. See where the pitfalls are. Work out what works best for you. Because it's best to come from a place of love rather than a place of fear. So talk about it. And when your child is feeling heard and understood, then it makes it so much easier. You know, one sort of mum said, yeah, well, you see, my child says, oh, no, I only want to use my smartphone for music, so leave me alone. Okay, well, give them an iPod for that. Do you remember what those were? Something that doesn't have Wi-Fi access. If they're younger, then agree on the apps that they're allowed to download. I spoke in the previous episode about having a contract, laying out all the guidelines, laying out all the rules, things that you have agreed on, things that you have said, yeah, that's fair, yeah, do you think, you know, and you've discussed it, and you've worked out that, well, maybe half an hour's not enough and maybe 5 hours is too much. So where's the happy medium? What have you agreed on? Maybe it's different for school nights than it is for weekends. Maybe it's different for holidays. That's allowed, but as long as you've agreed on it. And okay, if it's not working, it needs to be adjusted, you know. We know that's fair enough. But talk about it. Talk about the things that concern you as a parent, so that they understand it. You know, talk about sexting, talk about grooming, talk about the fact that they never come out of their room and they're isolating themselves from their friends. Talk about their BMI, for goodness sake, and the fact that they're not doing what is healthy for them. What is healthy is they need sleep, they need nutrition, and they need exercise. Well, if there's too much screen time going on, then that needs to be addressed. So start off with, listen, you're not in trouble. You're not in trouble. But I'm concerned that we have upset the balance a bit. I'm concerned that it's not healthy any longer. And I want to work out with you what we can do, what we can agree on, so that you don't miss out. But so that I know, as a mum or a dad or a granny or a youth worker or whoever you are, so that I have created a happy and safe environment for you. Speak to them about porn, for goodness sake. I've had this firsthand. I was doing a history project for my 10-year-old at the time, and we were doing King Henry VIII and his 6 wives. Well, I'll tell you what, the pictures were very educational. They weren't, they were alarming, and he was 10. And that was just me searching with parental controls on the laptop. So your children are going to see this. Your children really are. So talk to them about what is healthy, what to do when they see stuff that upsets them, what to do when they receive stuff that upsets them, be it cyberbullying or whatever, what to do when they feel that something makes them feel uneasy or just downright unfair. Keep those lines of communication open without judgment. What to do when they know that they're not getting enough sleep. What to do to safeguard that. Because I get it. It is scary. It is also a wonderful source of information, of inclusion, of community. And yeah, we need to trust our kids a bit, but also they need to earn that trust. It's a great place for self-expression. The hashtag no filter now is allowing people just to go, do you know what? This is me. I don't need to have eyelashes and all this sort of stuff and eyebrows that look manufactured. It's wonderful to allow self-expression and allowing your child to feel safe in the knowledge that who they are is pretty all right. So it is wonderful. But if you are putting your head in the sand and don't know what's going on, you're not going to see the pros or the cons. And you're invariably, as I know from experience, parents are invariably operating from a place of fear. So let's lift the lid on that. So, talk to your child, calmly and openly. And until the next video, I thank you. If you'd like more of these videos, please don't forget to subscribe, click the notification bell so that you are notified when the next video is released and premiered. There are many more videos on here that discuss not only digital but also other things like, as I discussed, porn and cyberbullying and bullying and stuff like that, all to support parents so that they can support their children, and together we can build a mentally healthier and happier generation of young people. And as always, if you have a comment or a question, please leave it in the box below, because I will answer as soon as humanly possible. And on that note, much love, and I shall speak to you soon. Bye-bye.